Rod Bridge is on a mission to expose the synthetic drug trade that killed his son. He wants to find out how vast quantities of designer drugs are flooding into Australia. So he's gone to China, the biggest source of these drugs, posing as an Australian crime boss. Filming with hidden cameras, he's about to meet his new drug contacts.
Hello. How are you? Good.
Hello.
Stephen,
hello.
Hey,
hello.
My name is Susie.
Susie.
Yeah.
Rod and our producer are led into a building, past security cameras, through doors that lock in place behind them. Like every drug operation we will see in China, this one is clearly doing enough business to have several staff filling orders from around the world. And they're happy to show off their product.
Okay, yeah. So what have we got?
This is APVP.
So that's the new product now, APVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
APVP, sold as bath salts and used in synthetic cannabis, is one of the deadliest psychoactive drugs on the market. It was so-called bath salts that killed Newcastle truckie Glenn Punch, who went on a psychotic rampage before dying of a cardiac arrest. Like other victims caught on video, Glenn Punch and his girlfriend, feeling so overheated by the drug, stripped off their clothes. But to the manufacturers in China, the side effects mean little. It's just another product for sale.
And how much is this per kilo?
这个有多少？1,100 USD.
1,100 US.
Yes.
Okay.
This is 25i.
Your 25i, yeah.
25i.
Yep.
Right. How much is the 25i? For 1 kilo?
1 kilo 1,600. About $6,300.
6,300 euros.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the best selling product in Australia at the moment?
4CMC.
4CMC, otherwise known as clefidrone, is a stimulant that's supposed to act like ecstasy, but it is far more potent and often fatal.
4CMC.
4CMC.
It's a drug will be offered time and again by drug suppliers in Hefei.
How much is 4CMC?
Price of 4CMC is 1,250.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any samples here we could look at?
样品
This is 4CMC. Okay.
3.
3 CMC. Yeah, what is the difference?
There are different products.
How does it affect the person who takes it? Is there a different effect?
Different product.
Different product.
Yes, different effect.
Which is better for the person taking it?
This one will much better. Maybe you can
The
have
3
some,
CMC is
Yeah.
better. Okay.
you can have some sample. I'll try.
Even more shocking is the extraordinary volume of synthetic drugs these manufacturers are ready to supply.
If we wanted 10 kilos, you can do 10 kilos?
Of course.
Oh, yeah?
100 kilo is all fine.
100 kilos, okay.
100 kilos from just one supplier. There are dozens more in this city alone, just as keen to show off their wares.
Do you supply much to Australia now?
Yes. 50 kilograms a month, or sometimes more.
How much would you ship out here a month?
Actually, about 100 kilos.
Okay. Yeah, how much can they make if I wanted 200 kilograms?
You will buy 200 kilograms a month. I will give you $950 1 kilogram. This is the price includes shipping cost.
It's all evidence Rod would like to show the newly formed Australian Border Force. But he claims his previous attempts to get police and customs authorities to act have been ignored.
We spoke to government agencies about it. I'll get back to you tomorrow, and 3 months later still haven't heard from anybody. You know, I was just so disgusted on what I found out. It's got to be taken to the next level. Has to be.
These are the new wave of drugs, in your opinion? This is what we are going to see next on our streets?
No, we won't, because we've taken action to ban their import into Australia.
It was only last week that Justice Minister Michael Keenan announced a blanket ban on all synthetic drug imports. Are you being a bit naive, thinking that just banning them will stop them?
Well, it's like all illegal drugs, Liz. It's a big challenge for our law enforcement agencies to make sure that we're doing all we can to stop illegal drugs from coming into Australia.
Astonishingly, the Australian Border Force told us this week it has no available figures on the amount of synthetic drugs detected coming into this country, despite having detailed statistics on all other illicit drug seizures. I'm just not hearing how effective our Border Force control is. I'm not hearing from them what we've achieved. I'm not hearing from them, how difficult it is to get these drugs in. In fact, I'm hearing nothing. Nothing. So I'm not seeing any evidence.
That is complete and utter nonsense.
Well, I'm not seeing any evidence from them that they are successful.
Well, I've just told you that we've had record seizures in Australia for illicit drugs.
But not synthetic drugs.
And any criminal who seeks to gain the system in Australia runs a very real risk of being detected and being prosecuted.
That threat doesn't seem to be worrying the smugglers. A packing room is crammed with boxes and barrels of raw material. Destination, Australia. Delivery, guaranteed within 7 days. All products air freighted to your doorstep by international couriers. It's one of the big secrets of drug smuggling that it's extremely difficult for sniffer dogs to detect these new substances.
They're all synthetic, which is, probably the same, the dog's probably sniffing the same thing that it is, the material of your case is made out of. So the dogs won't pick it up.
No wonder China's synthetic drug merchants don't seem the slightest bit worried.
How do you mask the product to stop dogs smelling?
We will discuss the product in some material to make it safe past the customer. Every product has his own smile.
Right, every product has his own smile. Right. For 25i, what is the best way to mask that?
And with that, we get a demonstration of one operation's smuggling technique. A $15 water filter unit used in aquariums.
How many do you think you would send to Australia in that?
This is for 1 kilo.
Each syndicate has its own unique method of smuggling the drugs.
Like customs?
Yes, this one can lock the smell in the package so the dog cannot smell it.
That's our biggest concern, packaging.
Yes.
Detection.
But we have a lot of experience in package to Australia,
Yep.
So we know how the customers.
And even if in the unlikely event the package is seized by Australian Customs, every one of the suppliers we met guaranteed to replace it free or at half price.
50% of the cost.
Yes, and we can bear 50% and you pay 50% again, and I will send it.
Okay.
But don't worry, Australia is safe.
Australia is safe, isn't it?
Australia is safe.
What have we got in place to detect these synthetic drugs coming into Australia?
Well, it's often the same methodologies we use for detecting other illegal drugs.
For example, sniffer dogs? Are they being used to detect synthetic drugs?
Yes, they are. I'm not keen to give criminals a how-to guide to avoid our detection methodologies, by the way.
Are you sure about that? Because I've been told quite specifically that no sniffer dog at this point can detect synthetic drugs because, frankly, synthetic drugs smell like your bag or any other synthetic substance that it might be being carried in.
Look, it really depends on what substance we're talking about. There's lots of variations of synthetic drugs.
All synthetic drugs I'm talking about.
Well, criminals seek to mask the way they import illegal substance into Australia in lots of different ways.
But drug testing experts like Tyron Edwards says the minister is wrong.
The dogs can't pick them up because of the low volatility of the compound, and they are synthetic. So the dogs are usually just in tune with natural compounds, which, you know, cocaine and heroin are.
Okay.
Perhaps most frightening of all is that the people selling these drugs seem to have no idea what effects the drugs will have on the person taking them.
MXE.
What's that one? MXE. What do they use that for?
You can test it. If you like it, I will provide my best price for you.
Asked them straight out about, you know, dosages and you know, this stuff here can create deaths, and they're fully aware of that. Their attitude to me is that everyone's temperament's different. Just don't take too much or you'll die.
Is that what they actually say?
Yeah, exactly the words they said.
It is risky business.
Box like this.
And it's clear by the end that one of our hosts is suspicious.
Okay, now,
It's time to leave.
Payment. I think we better get out of here. Yeah, let's go. Can we go? Yeah. I was waiting for him to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Make a call. Whew.
For many, this might seem to be an unwinnable war. But for Rod Bridge, there's too much at stake to give up. And a promise that a 16-year-old boy named Preston will never be forgotten.
I think a lot of dads might understand what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I hope so, you know, and I hope that message gets to everybody else, and especially to their children, and, you know, and if we can start the ball rolling and talk about these products, then, you know, we might have a chance. Might have a chance.
As well as taking on China's drug lords, Rod Bridge has also set up Sideffect, a much-needed organisation to educate young Australians on the dangers of synthetic drugs.